This episode of the Infamous Podcast is brought to you by CBS All Access. Looking for a new streaming service to add so you can watch more stuff? Check out CBS All Access. Hit up infamouspodcast.com/CBS and you can get a free 1-week trial to CBS All Access and check out things like Star Trek Discovery, Picard, Survivor, all the other cool stuff that CBS has to offer. Star Trek Discovery, I said that already. You should really watch that. So hit up infamouspodcast.com/CBS to learn more. Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. Not just the podcast, the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian. Darryl's with me. What's up, Darryl?
The man, the myth, the legend. I am here.
I don't know about. No, I'm kidding. Hey man, how you doing? So, we've got a big show today. We got a bunch of news. We went and saw Tenet last weekend, separately, not together this time. Social distancing and all. We were a state apart, or whatever, river apart. And and then we're going to talk about the first 3 episodes of The Boys. But before that, we have some news. Darryl finally watched Cobra Kai, so I think that is the headline of all of this. Welcome to the club. Cobra Kai never dies.
And like I told you, speaking of martial arts, some of the guys, I was telling you earlier how some of the guys, after I was talking about it last week or the week before last at my Muay Thai studio, and a couple of guys are watching it now. So
I think we can all agree at this point, Miguel Diaz is the one true Karate Kid.
Absolutely.
So, and Daniel LaRusso's a bitch.
He is a punk bitch.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, you see, he was the aggressor and bully against Johnny Lawrence in the first Karate Kid movie. Dude, the whole reason that Cobra Kai got made was because of the TV show How I Met Your Mother, with the joke that Barney thought that Billy Zabka, Johnny Lawrence, was the Karate Kid.
I didn't even I never really watched How I Met Your Mother. I watched it in here and there, and if it's actually on some streaming service, I'll probably watch it.
It's on Hulu right now.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay. So I've watched all the Parks and Rec Community, all that. So
go check out the episode. I don't know which number it is. It's in one of the later seasons. It's Barney's bachelor party. His first bachelor party when he's first engaged to a different character that he marries. But he it's really funny because both Ralph Macchio and Billy Zabka are in the episode.
Oh, that's even funnier. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's great.
Anyway, but and then Star Wars news real quick that we're not really covering, but I thought it was interesting because people completely overreacted. Daisy Ridley was talking to Josh Gad, and she had let slide that they had no plan. With The Force Awakens, she was supposed to be related to Obi-Wan. And then Ruin Johnson came in and made her nobody, which actually I thought was cool. That was one of the few things I really liked.
Yes.
Yeah, that made more sense.
Like that. Yeah, 100% agree.
And then Jar Jar Abrams came in, and it changed a couple times during Rise of Skywalker. I think I would have been better. I would have been better satisfied if she would have been a full-blood Skywalker that Luke didn't know about. Maybe would have been interesting, but that's neither here nor there, and I don't really want to go much further into it than that. Other than relax, Daisy Ridley didn't blow up Star Wars, especially not on Josh Gad's show. He's not gonna be biting the hand that feeds him because he's super tied into Disney. But it was still an interesting statement. I'll just leave it at that.
Look, let's be honest. We all knew they didn't have a plan after seeing all 3 movies. So this is nothing. It's interesting to see that she was this, then this, then this. I like.
They didn't have a plan when they didn't have cohesive writer or director throughout the whole thing. You don't make a trilogy like this with 3 different directors.
You do not. No.
And like I think Colin Trevorrow, again, I'm going to go for two. I'm going down a rabbit hole, but Colin Trevorrow like had a great idea building on what JJ did and what Ruin was supposed to do, and Ruin Johnson did not live up to his part of the bargain, which is why the Rise of Skywalker is so fan servicey and has good parts. Don't get me wrong, it's got some pretty cool scenes, but that's why they had to bring back Palpatine to try and win some fans back.
Yeah, it had its own in-game scene.
Yeah,
which was pretty cool. I love that scene.
So on your left, Poe, on your left. Anyway, the first story. So we don't talk a lot about games. We're actually going to try and do that a little bit more. Darryl browbeat me into buying the Marvel Avengers game this week.
Which
is
fantastic.
We're actually going to talk about that one next week, along with our continued coverage of The Boys. But so in gaming news, EA Sports made a kerfluffle. Is that like a good word to describe what they did this week? They introduced. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, let's backtrack to the ratings for Madden in itself.
Well, hold on, no, because I want to go into this part first because then it informs the second part, like why they did this. Like, let's save the game rating for after this. So, because on the surface level. Here they added Colin Kaepernick back into the game for the first time since 2016. Which the guy doesn't want to play football. He doesn't. He makes way more money going around and giving talks and being social justice warrior-y, and that big fat Nike contract that he has to be a Nike premier athlete. So he, the posturing like, oh, he should be on a football team. He doesn't want to play because he's going to be a backup. He hasn't played in 4 years. And let's be honest, his last 3 seasons in the league, he was a backup.
He got replaced by Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah, who I don't think is in the league right now. Anyway, so they introduced Kaepernick. He's a free agent, can be signed to any team, right? Which I think is really funny. And I'll be really interested to see if they release stats of like how many people actually drafted him to their team, but they overrated him. And so
massively.
I will say Madden is typically pretty good about rating the players based on like where they really are, what their real attributes are, what they can and can't do in real life. So like Pat Mahomes, it's a shame he's not a 99 because he definitely should be, or if anyone's going to be 100, it's Pat Mahomes. But they rated Kaepernick as an 84. And when he was last in the game in 2016, he was 81, sorry. He was a 74 the last time he was in. And that was like being really, really
that was very kind.
Very kind. So, I mean, his peak season was in 2013. I think that was the year that the 49ers on the legs and back of Frank Gore went to the Super Bowl. But yeah, so this is a really interesting move, but he ranks higher than Kyler Murray from he plays for Arizona, the Cardinals, who's the reigning rookie of the year. He's tied with future Hall of Famer Ben Roethlisberger at 81, and Roethlisberger has at least 2 Super Bowls, right?
Yeah.
So 2. Okay. And he's higher than former MVP Cam Newton, who is going to have Belichick as his coach this year. And, Belichick is playing him in the media like a fiddle right now, which I think is a masterstroke of what Belichick is doing. And it's also adding fuel to the fire that is Tom Brady. Let's just go there. But yeah, so they've done, so EA came in and did this and made this choice, and it's their game. It's fine. And people are, and okay, so I'm not saying like, oh, I'm not buying the game because it has Colin Kaepernick in it. I'm not buying the game because I haven't bought a new Madden game in 6 or 7 years because the game doesn't change anymore. So I think, what is it? Or maybe it's 5 years, like 2015 when I first got the PS4. That was the last time I bought a Madden game because I don't need to buy them every year. Anyway, but yeah.
So wait, like for Madden, and yeah, I haven't bought a Madden game since my PS3 days. And it's been about 12 years. The worst thing to happen to Madden was the exclusivity deal.
Yeah, when 2K went away.
Yeah, what we see is when you have exclusivity on something, a lot of times, look at the product of let's go to wrestling. The WWE was best when it had competition with WCW.
Oh yeah.
Once they bought WCW out, it's gone. It's continually gone down.
Well, I mean, to stick with video games, 2K has the license to WWE, and 2K19 is one of the worst games in history, and it had so many bugs and glitches, it was unplayable. To the fact that they canceled 2K20.
Wow, that is
so.
Wow.
But anyway, but no, you're right. Like, you know, your WWE analogy is spot on. Both in the video game world and real life. Then you see with AEW now, WWE doesn't know how to start it back up and kick it into high gear.
Yeah, you need that competition to fuel not only desire but also creativity.
Yeah,
competition is and that's what I don't think people a lot of times. And it's not just business; it's in everything. When you have to get better because someone else is as good or better than you, that's when you see how, like, what you're made of with anything. Yeah. And so in this case, I think that was the worst thing for, again, Madden is, you know, they know no one else is going to have a Madden game or NFL licensed game. So, you know, it's, hey, we're the only game in town. So there's no creativity. And, you know, looking at what some of the people say about it, that's the same thing they say. It's like, like I saw a side-by-side like video of Madden from 3 or 4 years ago, the Super Bowl celebration to Madden this year. It's the exact same animation.
Yeah.
Are you serious, guys?
So I think here's the thing is this wasn't done as a get woke, go broke kind of thing. This was done in response to the Metacritic score that this game has been getting. So for the PS4, it's a 0.2. Also on Xbox One and PC. So it's a 0.2 rating, which is the lowest score in the history of Metacritic for a game. It has 61 positive, 25 mixed, 4,872 negative. And there's a whole bunch of zeros. Let's see. EA Sucks says this game is straight up unplayable. Somehow to an even greater degree than the previous few Madden titles. There's still no user control of your players. They get pulled into animations depending on which premeditated outcome of the game has been scripted. Players still don't know football fundamentals like how to run a route, cover, or block. In fairness, it's hard to learn football. The board ref. Broken game. Same game. Encouraging children to gamble. No attempt at improvements. Have not tried to improve for years. Games on previous consoles are superior. I mean, like, this goes on and on. Bugs and glitches everywhere. This is from Exodus 13. Bugs and glitches everywhere. Animations are broken. Realism? Yeah, forget about that. And franchise is still so bare bones that I can't even bear playing it. Fix the game. We deserve better than whatever this is. So, I mean, this is the overwhelmingly negative feeling towards this game. And I'm going to tell you right now, these are all from the last week that I read, last 2 weeks. Not a mention of Kaepernick, right? Because, like, that's the least of anybody's concerns about this game. This is EA, like, saying, oh, hey, look over here. Forget about this game sucking over here. Get triggered or outraged by this or be happy about this. Like, I'm not sure. The best comment I saw, though, is he going to kneel? I just thought that was hilarious. You know, if EA wants to be on brand, like, you should have the option to make him kneel, to be honest. I will say this in defense of Colin Kaepernick. All right. The few times I have an in defense of Colin Kaepernick situation. He walked away from $16 million. He walked away from a contract. He wasn't cut. He quit. He put his stance out there and said, hey, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to leave the league. I'm going to try and go do something else. And, you know, to what degree of success he's achieved, that's up to you. But he did do what most of these athletes, like Karen James, refuse to do, and put their money where their mouth is and go fight for what he may or may not believe in. Now, the question is what does he actually stand for? Because that has changed many, many times over time. So, yeah.
Yeah. And yes, EA does suck. ask any Star Wars fan. The Star Wars Battlefront 2 fiasco.
Oh, just the Battlefront games from Star Wars, from EA. Because the Battlefront games from the PS2 are still two of the best Star Wars games of all time.
Yeah, people are begging for Lucasfilm and Disney to take away the licensing from EA, because this company is, they remind me of Warner Brothers, and how Warner Brothers has just completely like set fire to the DC.
They've completely kerfuffled DC.
Kerfuffle. I like that word though.
Kerfuffle's a great word. It can be used for a lot, and like, you know, it's not a cuss word. So, yeah, I mean, the only good EA Star Wars game that's been out is Fallen Order, and even that, like, it needed like another 6 hours of gameplay, and the fact that you can't go back and replay the last, like, so you know how you can go back and like kind of finish everything, but you can't ever replay the last level unless you start over.
That makes no sense.
And like I want to go and complete everything, because you can't complete everything before you get to the last level. So I want to go and complete everything and then go fight Vader at full strength. Like, you know.
Yeah, it's
anyway.
Some of their business decisions. Yeah, EA sucks.
Yeah.
Madden 21 evidently sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. In better news, so to go along with Tenet, which we are reviewing here in a little bit, it made $20.2 million at the U.S. box office this weekend, and it's closing in on $150 million globally. It's still a $200+ million budget, but I think that's huge, because only 65% of theaters are open, and they're only open between 20 and 35% capacity based on the theater.
Right.
How many people were in the showing you went to?
Let's see, maybe 10.
Okay, I had 6. I counted.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, there's actually there's between 8 and 10.
Yeah.
There's at least 8, and there might have been 10.
So, you know, it was able to play on about 2,800 and about 2,800 cinemas. Yeah, it says here currently 65 to 70% of multiplexes have reopened. And it says here, though influential markets like New York City, Los Angeles, Seattle, and San Francisco are still off limits, and that did shave millions off. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, but at the same time, like, if the rest of the country at, you know, 25% of 65% are still going out and you know, putting $20 million into this movie, I mean, I think that bodes well for as things reopen. And I'll tell you what, if you're afraid of going to the movies right now, don't be. It is the cleanest experience I've ever had. Other than the seat that I was sitting in, like the little reclining feature didn't work. And I'm not one who likes to recline all the way. I just like to get the seat to go out a little bit so I can put my feet up, like, you know, so they're not on the floor. But yeah, it's super clean, and I don't know, you're like me, we love going to the movies.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's like the, no pun intended, but that's the core tenet of our friendship is going to the movies.
Yeah, and again, you don't have to go to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna do a Scott Derrickson / Russo brothers who disappointed me when they were like, "Oh, don't go to the movies, don't go see Tenet."
Well, they're just saying that because it's not their movie. If they had a movie out, they'd be like, "Rah rah, go see a movie," and you know, go see my movie.
Yeah, and the way the movie theaters do it, is fine in the sense of, like you said, first of all, extremely clean.
Yeah.
That, there's no messes around the popcorn machines or anything like that, or the stuff like that.
Yeah.
But also, your distance from people. If that's something that you're worried about, they absolutely, the regulations they have in place for that are pretty damn good. So, again, don't like.
Yeah.
People will make their own decisions, but if you're worried about, how are they with the cleanliness and rules and regulations, it's pretty damn good.
I mean, like,
so,
I wore my mask when I went in. I wore my mask when I got my popcorn and sweetened whatever sweet tart ropes, those little cherry ropes that I like, and I had a bottle of water. And so I had my mask on. I went and I sat down. I was the only person in my row, so I took my mask off, and I did not put it back on until I got out because there was no one anywhere near me. There was no one within 15 feet of me, And that's like, realistically, there was no one within 50 feet of me. But it was, So I don't know. I'm excited. I think, I think this is again bodes well. Like, I think the rumors of pushing back Wonder Woman again and pushing back Black Widow are, kind of silly.
Yeah. And also, I think I told you that I'd read that the Alamo Draft Houses are starting to open up.
Yeah.
I guess they were closed, so they're opening up some of their theaters. And the thing is, it's just going to, more and more, it's just going to open up. And I really don't, like, to your point, I really hope they don't push back some of these movies.
Yep.
Wonder Woman and Black Widow, and then again what we're about to talk about, Dune.
So Wonder Woman
don't push these back.
Wonder Woman is at October 2nd right now, and Black Widow is November 6th right now. And there was talk of pushing Wonder Woman back to December, but I think, and this is just going to segue right into the next topic, is the Dune trailer came out on Wednesday of this week, and it is fantastic. And I'm sorry, but if I'm any other movie and I watch that, I don't want to be anywhere near that movie when it comes out.
So how much we both really liked Wonder Woman, the first one. I love Gal
I liked
Gadot.
most of Wonder Woman.
Overall,
So,
overall we did. Yeah, overall we did. I really want to see this one.
Mm-hmm.
However, to what you just said, after watching the Dune trailer, and again, I'm not a Dune fanboy like you are. I'm like in the middle of finishing the actual first Dune book, which is, I really enjoyed this book.
I'm wearing my Surf Arrakis shirt right now with a Fremen on top of a sandworm.
Yeah. But again, we were able to, we can watch multiple movies. But to your point, wait a minute, are they both WB?
Yes, they're both Warner Brothers.
Okay. So, yeah, I think that from what I saw from the Dune trailer and comparing it from what I saw from the Wonder Woman trailer, people that aren't like moviegoers that go see all these movies, if they have to pick, I would think not everybody obviously, but a lot of people see Dune and they're like, holy shit, what is this?
Right.
Because that trailer was so good. And it was that trailer that it shows you enough, but doesn't show you too much. And that's,
well, yeah. And I think the beauty of it, so it's going to be two movies, right? The whole first book is not being done in one movie, which I think is really smart.
Oh,
and,
okay. Yeah.
So I imagine the first half is going to be the Atreides leaving Caladan and going to Arrakis, and then the eventual Harkonnen retaking of Arrakis, and it will end with Paul and Jessica going into the desert. The book was written in the 60s, people. There's no such thing as spoilers. If you haven't read it, that's on you. But yeah, they'll go. This is just my thought, is that it'll end on that cliffhanger. And then when it comes back, it'll be, finding Stilgar and, instituting themselves insinuating themselves into the, no, that's not the right word either. Ingratiating themselves to the Fremen, and then,
that's where I'm at right
retaking the, Dune. So I love this cast. One, thank you, Jason Momoa, for shaving that ridiculous beard for playing Duncan, Idaho. I think he looks great. The suits, the armor looks awesome.
Yes.
Just I'm actually gonna play the trailer while we're talking, just real low. But I think Timothy Chalamet, is that how you say it?
Chalamet. Yeah.
Is a inspired choice as Paul Atreides. Zendaya as Chani is interesting. I just hope she's not mopey, because Chani isn't mopey. Chani's a very hopeful character and keeps Paul, especially when he comes Muad'Dib, grounded. And then changing Liette. Liette has been gender and race bent. Liette will be a woman this time, which I don't care. Like, Liette can be a woman. That's kind of the cool thing about that character. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with the Bene Gesserit in this. Seeing Thanos as Gurney Halleck will be interesting.
Yeah, I like I told you the other day, I really love this casting.
Yeah.
And, I don't know the book inside and out like you, because, I mean, you read it every...
I read it every single year. I read it every single year. Actually, I got the audiobook last year, and I've started listening to it. But the audiobook is a play. It's different. They have different actors play the different characters. And so I listened to it, but it's a 24-hour audiobook. So, and I'll listen to it in about a week. So, we'll just leave that where that is. But yeah, I mean, Dave Bautista as the Beast Raban, Bill Skarsgård, which I just found out this week because we were curious. He's playing Fade Rotha, and then Stellan Skarsgård is playing Baron Harkin. And so I mean, this is just great casting. And then I think the thing I'm most excited for is Javier Bardem as Stilgar, and the little bit that we got to see him was really great. And then Rebecca Ferguson is playing the Lady Jessica, which I love her. I love her in everything she's in. And then Duke Leto Atreides is Oscar Isaac.
Yes. I mean,
yeah,
it's.
I mean, you can hear in my voice the excitement. Like, we're definitely reviewing this movie. But the thing that I loved most about the trailer was the last shot with the sandworm.
Yes.
It's beautiful. Sure it's so beautiful. I'm so happy they did. I mean, because you got a tiny glimpse when it was eating the spice freighter. But yeah, but you get to see the size and scope of it. And it's just like that scene where they're running for the rocks at the very end. It's on right now, actually. The only thing I kind of wanted to see was it to roar at them. But I'm like, again, the restraint, I'm happy we didn't see that.
Right. Do you want to save some stuff for the actual movie?
I think this is one I'm definitely going to go see in IMAX.
Ooh, that'll be nice.
So, but, I was telling you, like, we did not get a chance to do our typical, like, May, we both take Friday off and go get burgers and go see a movie. This has to be our movie this year.
Yeah.
So
I'm really excited for this, and I just really hope it sticks on its 12/18.
Yeah,
and release date.
This is Denis Villeneuve, who has done Arrival, Snooze Runner 2049, The Prisoner. A lot of he's done a lot of really good movies. Yeah. But yeah, so I hated Blade Runner 2049.
And I really like Blade Runner 2049.
But I hated Blade Runner, and I hated the Philip K. Dick short story for all of this. Like, I like Cyberpunk. I just hated Blade Runner. And like, I'm not saying like, I'm not irrational about it. I just didn't like it.
Right.
And I thought 2049 was snoozy as fuck. So.
And he also did Sicario, which is
a
great movie.
Yep.
And again, I absolutely love Arrival. It's kind of funny we're talking about Tenet, because Arrival has some of those similar themes as far as time goes.
So I didn't see Arrival because it sat on my Hulu watch list for the entire time it was on Hulu, and I was like, I need to watch this. I need to watch this. And I never got around to it. So
Yeah, I really, and again, it's not for everybody, but I haven't seen the movie. Like again, I really enjoyed Blade Runner 2049. I still haven't seen Prisoners, and that's one of those movies I've wanted to see for a while
that's a good
now.
one. Like Hugh Jackman's actually really good in that.
Yeah, I've just heard
So
good things about it, and I just haven't gotten a chance to see it.
yeah.
But that's a, other than the cast and the source material, you have a director. There's a director that I really like. Pretty much everything I've
Yeah.
seen
So
that he's done.
I will say this: if you are looking at this trailer and thinking, "Oh, this looks like a young adult retelling," no, you are a fan of the David Lynch quote unquote Dune movie, where he grossly miscast everybody by aging them up way further than what they needed to be. And Kyle McDermott was the absolute wrong choice to play Paul Atreides. Sorry. But I hate the David Lynch Dune movie. I hate it. It drives me insane. He took so many liberties with it. Yeah. Like this is the age that Paul Atreides should be. Like Alec Neiman in the sci-fi version was like, he was a little older, but he looked younger because he's only 3 apples tall. But and like, he also had to like had to look a little bit older later on. So they did that, but like with Timothée Chalamet, like they can do this one, they do the next one, they wait like 3 or 4 years, they do Dune Messiah, and then they can wait another 2 or 3 years and do Children of Dune. And both Timothy and Zendaya, who I love her. I think she's great. I just don't want her to be mopey. Will be the perfect age to play Paul and Chaney at the time of their deaths. So, and I think Momoa is a good choice for Duncan Idaho because he's a character who regularly comes back. So, it's cool, and it's something I'm excited for, and I love the entire look and feel of this trailer.
Yeah, can't agree more. Really looking forward to this.
But yeah, and if you haven't seen the trailer, go to the show notes. The link is in there. I think I've watched it like 6 or 7 times at this point, not counting the 2 times I just watched it. So
I kind of want to watch, like after we get done here, before I start turning.
And I don't know what the song is that is in the trailer, but it's really good and haunting, and yeah, very exciting. Oh, the guy who no, not this one. Yeah, so no, this was great. So Hans Zimmer is the one who's doing the score for this, which is pretty exciting as well. All right, let's move on to do you want to do the inverted review or the regular review, because one of us has to do one. All right, so again, so we went and saw Tenet again separately, but I'm not the biggest Chris Nolan fan. Darryl you're definitely a bigger fan of Chris Nolan than I am. Yes. I did enjoy this movie, and I will say for 3 reasons. John David Washington, who should be Black Panther, Robert Pattinson, and Elizabeth Debicki. The 3 of them were awesome together.
They absolutely carried this movie. We talked about Kenneth Branagh as the antagonist. I thought he was fine, but he didn't bring anything that upgraded the movie. Like sometimes a villain can upgrade a movie. Well, perfect example is Heath Ledger as the Joker. I thought Batman, The Dark Knight was a movie, but Heath Ledger upped it to being a good movie. Still not,
So if they would have called that movie Joker, I would have been more okay with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I told you, like when Kenneth Branagh came out, I said, "Oh, it's Kenneth Branagh with the Russian accent." Like, like there was no menace to him, even though he was supposed to be menacing. There was never any like stakes, like, "Oh my God, this guy's gonna do something crazy" when he was on screen. And the other thing I wasn't a fan of with him, and I'll get back to what I liked, is that his motivations just seemed so blah to me. He didn't have any motivations. It was all happenstance. It was like like he was a goonie in the hidden town in Russia he grew up in, and he accidentally found some riches, and then just decided to become a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
But again, I thought he was fine. Yeah, and again, Debicki, Pattinson,
Yep.
and Washington were so good to individually, and then and any scenes they had together were.
I mean, let's be honest.
So
this is John David's star-making role. I loved him in Ballers. I loved him in Black Klansman, but this is the movie that's going to make John David a household name. And it's funny, like if you watch Ballers with him, there's times where if you like kind of close your eyes or you're in the other room and you hear him talking, you run in, you're like, oh my God, Denzel's on here. And it's like, because he's Denzel Washington's kid. If you don't know, I know Darryl knows, but if you guys don't know, but yeah, so it's really funny. And then the other thing I liked was the addition of Hamish Patel as their kind of one of their team members. He was in Yesterday. And then I love Aaron Taylor Johnson. I'm always a fan when he shows up in things.
Yeah, it took me a minute to realize who he was under the beard.
Same.
Yeah. And I kept looking. I was like, wait a minute, is that? And it's like, no.
That's not Kick. Is that Kick-Ass? That's Kick-Ass.
Like, no. Yes, that's him.
Kick-Ass went and joined the army. And he's inverted.
Yeah, so I did like he was a very good supporting character.
I will say with Nolan's perchance of time bending and just messing with the space-time continuum, I actually thought this was a relatively coherent movie. He set rules. He followed them. He didn't break any of the rules. And it was really easy to like kind of call the shots as they were happening.
So I think I told you this, when it's funny enough, we didn't go see it together, but we saw it maybe an hour apart.
Yeah, you said you were going to go see it, and I was like, because I was kind of hoping you weren't.
So I think the issue with me was I was so caught up in the whole inverted thing that it was kind of like that magician saying, hey, look over here. And I was looking over here, not seeing what was blatantly obvious. And once I stepped back and looked at inverted like it should have been, and not just as it was and not putting bigger meaning into it, everything fell into place.
Yeah, I would have drove you nuts sitting next to you at this one, because I would have been calling everything to you and ruined the movie for you. To your point, there were several things that I still can't remember. I told you that this reminded me of another time travel movie, and I couldn't think of what it was, and I still can't. But a lot of the beats of it, I thought, okay, this is going to happen. Timeline with Paul Walker and Gerard Butler.
I forgot Paul Walker was in that movie.
Yeah, he was the kid. Well, not the kid, but I mean, he was an
adult.
Yeah. But did this remind you of Varsity Blues? It reminded me a lot of Varsity Blues.
Yeah, not at all.
Nothing at all. No. But no, Pattinson and Washington had amazing on-screen chemistry working together. And then the whole kind of spoilers, the whole thing at the end where you kind of learned one of them had a longer relationship with the two of them than the other one was really cool, and something that I think was a nice surprise. That was something that, like, you kind of got the hint that one of them knew the other one better than they were letting on.
Yeah.
But, then at the same time, it was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, yeah, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, and it was because Pattinson had said a couple of times, what will be, or something along those lines.
And I thought that was just because Hamish was in the movie and they were making a callback to Yesterday.
So when he said that, and the way he said it, it just seemed like okay, this is not a guy that is being introduced into this world. You always thought that there was something he was hiding.
Yeah, you thought that maybe he was a bad guy on the inside.
Right. And I love that when he was saying what will be, he was like, that's not an excuse to do nothing.
Yeah.
And then it was like, what do you call that? And his reply was reality.
Yeah.
And I love that because, regardless of what you think, people say, this happened for a reason, or, I can't change this or that, or I can't, whatever. Just because you don't think you can change something doesn't mean you just sit there and accept it and take it.
Yeah.
It's along the lines of, hey, keep trying, keep doing, go another route.
Yeah.
That's how reality is.
Would you consider this a heist movie? Because I thought that the way Pattinson played Neil was really similar to the way Hayden Christensen played his character in Takers.
I wouldn't call it a heist movie per se. There are some mechanics I believe that are of the heist genre, but I wouldn't call it a heist movie. So
yeah, fair enough.
One of the other things I really liked was the action. I mean, again, it's not just the inversion stuff, but just the first part. The movie opens with a hostage situation that is the sound of dun 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 dun. That Christopher Nolan absolutely loves and probably goes to sleep with. Yeah. Probably the only way he can get to sleep or whatever. But it just brought me into, I sat up in my seat when that started and like, oh man, what's going on? I like this. And that's just the regular action. And then you put in the inversion scenes, which I would love to see how they did some of this stuff, because it was just so
that'll
unique.
Be the whole reason to get this, is to see the special features.
Right. Because this is definitely a movie, and again, it's not my favorite movie of the year or anything like that, but it's definitely a movie I'm going to watch again in the future. Not necessarily at the movie theater, but when it comes out on video or Blu-ray or digital, I'm going to pick it up.
Did you like this one more than New Mutants?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I thought because
you thunk
again when we were talking, I thunk a thunk.
A thunk.
A dunk a dunk. New Mutants issue was the first half of the movie was
garbage.
Forget waterboarding. Make someone watch the first half of that movie over and over on a loop, and they will tell you anything. This movie, from start to finish, for the most part, wasn't really boring. There weren't any parts where I was like bored now, to quote Dark Willow. There were some parts where it's like, okay, you could speed it up a little, but I was never bored with this movie. Like New Mutants, I was bored with that.
Oh yeah.
So,
all right,
I definitely like this more than New Mutants.
So yeah, it had a budget of $200 million, did $20 million U.S. box office. The global box office is at $152.3 million. Sorry. And okay, so pre-production. The pre-production started for this a long time ago. Apparently Nolan came up with the idea 20 years ago. And he's been working on iterations of the script for 6 to 7 years. The title is a palindrome, which, duh, and makes sense because everything's forwards and backwards. Casting. So John David got cast because of his performance in Spike Lee's Black Klansman. Pattinson based his character and mannerisms on author Christopher Hitchens. And the rest of the casting was announced as filming started. So I think one of the interesting bits of criticism of this movie and the reception is Kenneth Branagh saying he's playing a typical Russian Bond villain. So I'm glad to see I wasn't alone there. It's doing great. It's got a 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, on 226 reviews. It's got a really positive 69 out of 100 on Metacritic. Generally favorable. Cinescore gave it a B on an A+ to F scale. So, which I think is pretty much right on there.
I think it's absolutely accurate.
I think this is not Nolan's best work, but at the same time, it's better than all 3 Batman movies.
I really love Batman Begins.
Yeah, I mean I love Batman Begins too, but I would watch this again before I'd watch Batman Begins at this point. I would. And I think this is one of those movies, and I've told you this a couple times off air, that I really think there's something about this movie that the more I watch it,
the more I'm actually gonna like
Yeah,
it.
it's gonna have that Inception effect.
Mhm.
I like Memento better than I like this one. I liked Inception, and I liked
I loved
Yeah.
Inception the first time I saw it.
Okay.
Like this, I liked, but like when I first saw Inception in theater, I'm like, I love this freaking movie.
Yeah.
So
And then Ludwig Göransson was the composer of the score because Hans Zimmer was busy doing Dune.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I think the movie's getting. I think it's getting the critical response that it deserves. The Christina Newland, of some New York paper, it does not say, said that played by a silly Sador, played by a silly accented Kenneth Branagh as a Bond villain-esque Russian mastermind. Washington is dashing but a little dull, says Leslie Philperin from The Hollywood Reporter. But remarked that Debicki's performance adds color to Nolan's palette, and she has persuasive chemistry with Branagh to the point in their joint portrayal of a violent, dysfunctional love-hate relationship. And I think that's spot on. I think she played being a victim, yet someone who refused to be victimized very, very well. And of all the people in the movie, she had the clearest motivations for what she was doing, and that was her kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did like the other thing is John David's character is called the protagonist, which that he doesn't have a name. He's just the protagonist, which you don't get into the last minute of the movie.
Yeah.
Right? In the car there. But yeah. No, so
I thought that was like an RPG, like a Skyrim or something.
Right.
Like, what's your character's name? Protagonist.
The protagonist. So, but yeah. All right. I mean, I don't have a lot more to say. I think a 6. I'm gonna rephrase this. Refrain. I'm gonna say a 7 out of 10.
I have 7 and a
maybe
10 as well.
6.5. Depending on my mood, but yeah, I think it's a solid B minus. It could have been 45 minutes shorter.
Yeah, I when you said that, I said nah. I would say I would go with 15 or 20 minutes. I could definitely see, with some reworking of things here and there. But
I think they explained the time travel mechanics so well that we did not have to go through that whole process of them going back in time 2 weeks and looking out the window of shipping containers for 25 minutes.
Right. So, yeah, I thought it was good. Again, I do tend to like longer movies. However, also this one could have shaved some time off. But overall, I enjoyed myself, and this is a movie I will definitely watch again.
Yeah, and I'll especially want to check this out for the special features.
Yes, 100%.
So I hope there's a making of documentary.
Yeah, I would, and I also would love. I hope they have the director's commentary because I love those for Infinity War and Endgame. I've watched those a couple times, like both of those movies a couple times with the director's commentary on.
You want a good one? Check out the 7 with Fincher and Brad Pitt, and then any of the 3 Fight Club ones are really good.
Yeah, one of my favorites, the first one I ever watched with the director's commentary, funny enough, was Constantine.
Oh, nice.
And that was such a good director because some of the stuff they talked about, and that it's I haven't watched as many as I probably would like to, but I would love to watch it for this. I really hope he does a director's commentary for this.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be really cool. All right. So, Darryl, you know who the real hero is? You're the real hero. The boys are back. That's all I can say is the boys are back.
Daddy's home.
Daddy is home. So season 2, episodes 1, 2, and 3 came out. The big ride, proper preparation and planning, and over the hill with swords with the swords of 1,000 men. Are the 3 episodes that came out. Episode 4 comes out on Friday, September 11th, so the day after we're recording this. So we'll talk about that one next week. Yeah, it just hopped right into it, didn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it really did. And yeah, it was one of those. I kind of forgot when I woke up last week that it was. Well, evidently it went live the day before, the night before.
So
read an
I
article.
tried and it wouldn't play for me.
Oh,
So
interesting.
because I saw it, like I got a notification saying it was on, and then it wouldn't play on any of my devices. So I think maybe some people got to it quicker than others. But yeah, and then I had a bunch of meetings on Friday, so I didn't even get to watch till the afternoon.
Yeah, so it's funny because Prime's been kind of wonky with certain things that I've seen
Yeah.
over the last few months. I'm not sure what's going
Well,
on there.
I think just before we get into it, I think it's fair to note that season 2 is being review bombed on Amazon due to the release schedule. So people are none too pleased that they are releasing the boys piecemeal. So they did 3 and then the next one coming out next week, and then just one a week. I really hope they don't cave.
Don't do that. Yeah, don't. It's people. I've read some of the review bombs where someone was like, now that I don't care enough about it to wait for I have too much to do, or don't care enough about it to wait a week do a weekly thing. It's like, what are you doing? What's so important in your life that you can binge it 8 hours here, or in or a day or two,
Yeah.
but then you can't take an hour out of your day
No.
on Friday or weekend to watch it? Really?
Yeah, I mean, some of these reviews are great. No full season available. I give up. Where is my Netflix? There's one. Not sure what more, undecided. It would be a good idea, but this is the worst idea ever. Another one said, for now, I'll wait until the end of the season and binge the way I prefer. Fair enough. If this trend continues into other shows, i.e. Sneaky Pete, I'll cancel my Prime subscription and move on to Disney/Hulu and we'll just download my Amazon series from other places. We're so spoiled. We are so spoiled.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's silly. So on Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, it's got like a 94%, and then on Amazon, it's getting 2 full out of 5 stars. But it has nothing to do with the show. And I'll be honest, I thought the first 3 episodes were excellent.
Yes, absolutely. And that's I have issues with that, but again, I don't want to get too far into that because I don't want to waste my time, our time, or your time listening to this, getting into that. So with that being said, 100% agree as far as really like how they jumped in. Now, the one thing I wasn't sure about when we start off, and by the way, we are going to give spoilers, so we're assuming you've watched the first 3 episodes, but how long between the end of season 1 is there? How long do you think there was between the end of?
I think it's a couple
finale?
weeks. I think it's a couple weeks because Butcher disappears. Obviously at the end of season 1, we're not sure. Well, we know where he is, but then we when we find Rebecca, right? That's his wife, Rebecca. And Homelander and Homelander Jr. there. There's no sign of Billy Butcher to be found anywhere.
Right. Yeah. So I just wasn't sure about that. Like that was, and again, that's kind of like small potatoes in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah,
but
I did like that Butcher did not show up until the very, very end of episode 1.
Yes.
I thought that was great because it left you really wondering, like, where is he? What's happening here? All that fun stuff.
Yeah, and so overall, the first couple episodes, one of the things I did like was when we're talking about the boys. So let's talk about the boys. The dynamic between them.
Mm-hmm.
That Huey has 100% been accepted into the gang by
he's
Mother's
the
Milk
leader.
and Frenchie.
He's the leader of Mother's Milk and Frenchie. He's calling the shots.
Yeah. So that was considering where he came from. If you're looking back at the first episodes of season 1 to where Huey is now, and then we'll get more into Huey because he has kind of a rough ride from a psychological perspective in this episode, and it's all based on everything that's gone on from the beginning, because he is not equipped to deal with some of the stuff he's having to deal with, and we see that as the first 3 episodes go on, which I think I have designs on what he may or may not do.
Yeah, I think the Billy Joel song is really telling, that he keeps listening to over and over and over again.
Yeah. That kind of threw me when you saw the video playing. I'm like, okay, what just happened here?
Right?
For a second.
Yeah, so we find Huey and Mother's Milk and Frenchie and the female of the species hiding out with just like a gang, like a bunch of thugs,
Haitians or Haitians or something like that.
Underground, and they're helping these people to some extent. Like the one guy gets his arm like completely destroyed because I guess he punched a super or something, or got punched by a super. And they can't. They're trying to figure out a way to get enough money to get good papers to get out of the country because they're the most wanted. And then, obviously Huey finds a way with Starlight, with Annie, to start figuring out ways to bring Vought down in the 7.
Yeah. And that actually ends up I actually was kind of thrown that, that's one of those things that pays off so quickly. But I mean, it makes sense probably from a narrative perspective.
Well, I think it's only 8 episodes. I don't know if it's 10. So like they can't really hold story back, even though it's picked up for a season 3 already, right? I think you read that.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, I mean they don't have to hold story back for further seasons, because with the addition of Stormfront, there's going to be a lot to go on there. But yeah, it was, the boys get kind of pulled back into it, and they were talking to Jennifer Esposito, who, her poor, beautiful head, just her poor, beautiful head. And like, how much like viscera do these guys get on them and have to clean off? Right? Like there was the viscera in the first episode, and then there was the, if you saw the preview, there was the viscera in the 3rd episode. Poor Free Willy.
Yeah.
But
and then you think back to the very first episode. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, Huey spends more time covered in blood than anybody, between Robin and Translucent and
Lucy.
Yeah, Lucy. Can we talk about Homelander's performance at Translucent's wedding or funeral? That was like. That was a thing of beauty. The way what is his name, the actor?
I was just about to look it up. You might get it before I do.
But
I think it's Anthony something.
Yeah, it's Anthony Starr.
Anthony Starr, yeah.
Is like, he is so great. And it's the little looks that he gives, right? And here's one of the things I love about him. 1, he's from New Zealand, but 2, he's only 5'11". Right? And he's playing a Homelander who is this like larger than life hero. But yeah, I mean, he was in American Gothic, the TV show. He was on Banshee, The Lowdown, Tricky Business, the TV series Rush. So I mean, he's done the TV show Outrageous Fortunes, and then he did a bunch of like, he was in an episode of Xena, or 2 episodes of Xena. Interesting. A year apart, played 2 different characters. Nice. That was a thing. But yeah, like I love Homelander. I think he is. I mean, he's a piece of shit. Don't get me wrong, but like, he is a great character, and Anthony Starr plays him so well.
One of the things I love about him is that, first of all, yeah, he's sociopath. He is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But in the episode last season, this is why I love Anthony Starr so much. First of all, anytime he's on screen, I'm uncomfortable because I'm like,
right?
okay,
It's the look.
Who is he gonna tear apart?
It's the looks that he gives too, like what he does to the blind bandit guy.
Yes. Why? Daredevil?
Because he's right? Because he's a dick. But yeah, it was really funny, the reintroduction to the Seven, right? I think Black Noirs was really interesting when he was killing all those people, and then he came across the little kid, and he took the bunny, and he was making a dance, and then just kind of gingerly set it down and walked out of the room with his dad's head. You know?
Yeah. I mean, turn the one guy's head into a Pez dispenser.
Right. Oh God. Yeah, that was. Yeah, they don't steer away from anything, do they?
But yeah, like back really quick to Anthony Starr.
Oh yeah, sorry.
One of the things I loved about last season is, as much of a piece of shit as he was, he is able to, when he talks to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
What is his name?
Dr. Ryan.
Wait,
which doctor?
Ryan. No, that knew about that raised him.
Yeah, it was Ryan. I think that was I mean, he's always a dick, that actor. He's a dick in everything he's in. But I know who you're talking about.
When he said, he was like, I'm the greatest superhero that ever lived, or whatever. And that whole conversation he's like one of those that, he's looking for that. He's always needed the love.
Mm-hmm.
And for that one instance, I actually felt bad for him, especially when the doctor was like, you were my greatest mistake.
Right.
And the look on his face when the doctor says that, as bad of a person as he is, he still makes me for that instant feel bad for him. And and it was similar in this one when before he learns about the beans being spilled on Compound V.
Right.
He when he's kind of lamenting about things with Maeve.
Yeah.
And one thing I think 100% last season, that one scene I'm talking about was 100% emotion, and it was 100% genuine, I should say. Like with Maeve, I wasn't sure, because of their weird relationship that they have, and how he, obviously, if doesn't want anyone else to have her, or
right.
For apparently, I'm not sure, but Starr is so good. Like you said, those little looks.
Yep.
Like the looks he gives people from murder. Again, we were talking about Stormfront. Fast forwarding to the end of the episode 3, the look he gives her. After she, basically takes the credit. Well, she doesn't take the credit because she actually, took down the quote unquote terrorist. Well, he actually was a terrorist, but
yeah. Super villain.
Look he
Darryl.
Yeah, super villain. Oh, I'm sorry.
Super terrorist doesn't work. It's super villain.
Yeah, I'm glad Homelander's not around.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on. I think the other interesting dynamic to him this year is, without Elizabeth Shue's Madeline Stillwell, he's got Ashley Barrett, Colby Menifee's character, who was the PR person who then he handpicked to replace Madeline. And she's just so under his thumb, and it's really uncomfortable. It's really, really uncomfortable to watch.
Look at me, not him.
Right. As he's bleeding out of the head because he just got super bitch slapped to both ears. Yeah, it was interesting. Like the show is really uncomfortable, and I like it.
I was about to say, that's the thing I like about it. It puts you, it forces you out of your comfort zone.
So let's not go episode by episode. Let's just kind of break down the 3, because in that uncomfortability, I think everything with Jesse T. Usher as A-Train and Erin Moriarty as Starlight, that was super cringy the whole time, because he's like, he could pull the plug on her at any time, right? But she knows all of his skeletons, and I think she can take him in a fight.
I don't know, man, because my thing is, it's not that necessarily. It's he had the chance to do that to her before she even knew what was up,
right?
In the sense of spilling the beans on her.
Yeah.
there's a reason he didn't, and I'm waiting to see. And I think this will.
Well, I think they explained it a little bit because of Pop Claw, where the one of the needles shattered her arm bone.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, before all of that, before she told him that, I think that is a good, a reason. There's some lingering guilt he has for that. Definitely he has that. So I think that might have been the reason for that.
But I also think he doesn't want them shining a light on him in the 7, because he's not a top superhero anymore. He's not a top guy.
Right. Well, yeah, he had to basically race for his position, and he had to take Compound V to
do it.
But
I mean, like even in this season, like when they're in the tunnels after the boys drove through the whale, he's having a heart attack again.
Yeah. So, and going back to that, speaking of the discomfort between those two, how about the discomfort between Becca and Homelander?
Oh,
and the kid?
Yeah, that is just crazy. So.
Not, before he even throws the boy off the roof, which.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel kind of bad that I laughed with the kid.
It was really funny when he pushed him, but then when he's not moving, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have laughed at that. I will say I do like that Patty Spivot landed on her feet and is in the boys because. Patty was the best part of the Flash.
Oh, absolutely. So, and she's in that other show on Apple TV, For All Mankind.
Oh, I haven't watched that one yet.
I haven't either.
I've watched on Apple TV. I've watched Raven's Banquet, the one with Rob McElhenney about the game development company. I watched the one called Trying about a British couple trying to have a baby and they decide to adopt. I watched the one called Little Voice. With like singing and stuff like that. The girl's trying to make it as a singer in New York. And then my favorite one is Ted Lasso with Jason Sudeikis, which is do you watch soccer?
Watch what?
Do you watch soccer? I'm sorry, football?
No, I do not.
So I guess NBC Sports, when they had the Premier League, Jason Sudeikis played this character named Ted Lasso, who was an American college football coach who got hired to be the coach at one of the Premier League teams and got immediately fired. So then they made him an announcer, like desk correspondent, and he was just playing a bit. And they've made a whole TV show about it, and it's actually really good. So, but unfortunately, it's on Apple TV Plus, so nobody can watch it.
Anyway, that's crazy.
Anyway, but yeah, no, I think the uncomfortable level meter is like to 11 because like everything with the deep is uncomfortable, everything, except for Patton Oswalt being the voice of his gills when he's having his drug-induced breakdown.
Yeah, and the deep is another character who is we all know what he did with Starlight and other women.
Yeah, as we learned from his gills.
Yeah. Yeah, and what I'm trying to find his name. He does such a good job.
Chase Crawford.
Oh, Chase Crawford. Yeah, such a good job of bringing in the sympathy in the sense of like, yeah, you're a piece of shit, but I do kind of feel bad for you. And then again, he's had a couple uncomfortable scenes with Homelander, as hasn't everybody. But when Homelander tells him after, the Deep has been working on accepting himself and his gills and not feeling that he's ugly, and Homelander goes to say, yeah, cover up your gills.
Your gill showing is disgusting.
Disgusting. Like, really, dude?
Yep.
But, and then and going back to Homelander, one of my favorite scenes, and because Homelander is really never put in his place, is when he has this conversation with Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh yeah,
that first conversation when he's like, man child that you are.
Yep.
You released the Compound V into the wild. It's like, we're not a superhero company.
Right.
We're a pharmaceutical company.
Yep.
And I wonder how long it's been since someone talked to him like that. I mean,
I don't
Maeve
know.
has stood up to him a couple times.
Yeah, but Maeve almost immediately backs down because he's killed everyone she's ever loved.
Yeah, but no, as far as when he told her to back off, when she told him to back off from Starlight last year.
Yeah.
She was
that's
back
true.
off of her.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. My girl Aya Cash has no qualms about talking to him like that.
Yeah, and that. So one of the things I've told you before is what I like doing is I follow these reaction videos where.
Oh yeah.
I love watching people react to stuff that I've seen, and there are a couple people that I are watching The Boys, and the first 2 episodes, all you heard is, I love Stormfront. I love Stormfront. I love her. And I'm just laughing over here. It's like, just wait and see. Just wait and see.
Hold on. But
so she, again, then one of the things I think we had talked about on the show before was, how a lot of times source material gets changed for, sometimes it's for reasons that you need to change source material. And this one, we weren't sure 100% how true to Stormfront's character, and again, this character has been gender bent from the male character in the comics, which again, that Aya Cash so far Aya Cash is amazing.
I think Giancarlo's Stan Edgar character gave us her backstory.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Because I think she's way older than is letting on, which is why she's so just like prepared with the backpack and like snacks and that sort of stuff. Yeah. So no, but she's been awesome. And I'm like, her and Starlight have been really interesting together because she thinks Starlight is Team Voight and anything but.
Yeah. And for those who didn't realize how bad she was, episode 3, that finale, that with Kimiko, her brother, and against Stormfront.
Yeah.
You really see what Stormfront is all about.
Oh yeah, his magic hands.
Yeah. Oh, how cool. Like,
yeah.
And then
and she calls him a yellow bastard. And it's like, okay, like she's a Nazi. She's going to be a Nazi. I get it. And then I think you're getting to the point where when she's choking him out, what she says to him.
Yeah, I like to watch the light dot go out. Wow.
That is a great line. That really is. And like, I can't imagine how many times they did that as a take, but like however many takes they did, that had to be the absolute best because her delivery was perfect.
And did you see her face? It was like almost an orgasmic look on her face when she said it.
Yeah. And it was great. Hey, I want to also shout out Langston Kierman as Eagle the Archer, who's pulling the deep into some cult. So I don't know if you recognized him. He's on Insecure, the one show on HBO, but then he also was on Bless This Mess as Pam Grier's kid. I don't know if you watched that Dax Shepard show that was on. Yeah, I mean, it had Dax Shepard, so of course I was going to watch it. It was dumb. Don't get me wrong. It was really dumb, but he was on that. And like, so when he showed up as one of the heroes and then to find out he's a cultist, that was super funny. I have a question. I don't know if you can answer this for me. What's with the Fresca?
I don't know. That's like, I think I ignored it really the first time I watched it, and then watched a couple, watching it again through, the reaction channels. I'm like, what the hell is up with this Fresca?
But if you go back to the first season, there was more Fresca too. Like, yeah, it was strange because Madeline's refrigerator was full of Fresca.
Yeah, it was. I wonder if that's. I don't know.
Like, it can't just be product placement. It can't just be product placement. It's got to have some other thing, because they could do their product placement if they wanted to, but yeah, I don't know. I don't. The other thing I really liked was PJ Byrne pitching the 7 Rise of Justice or whatever it was called.
Dawn of the 7.
Dawn of the 7. And like, that was a great scene. And then when Stormfront's like, I have some highlights.
Yeah, it's more global.
Yeah. So, you write women. What was it? You write women like Hitchcockian bitches or Michael Bay fuck dolls.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I have 2 sisters, and like that makes it any better. Yeah, I'm really kind of excited to see that. I'm also excited to see I'm assuming flashbacks that are going to happen to see what happened to Lamplighter, because Sean Ashmore is Lamplighter. Right. So I think that could be something cool. I mean, Sean is not the preferable Ashmore if you want to have in a superhero show. I mean, I know he was Iceman, but like, Aaron Ashmore was Jimmy Olsen. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. I guess Aaron was busy. So they went with the lesser Ashmore. So like the superior ML, we have the superior Ashmore.
Yeah, like
I'm
Aaron
kidding.
Ashmore, I don't know if he's still doing that show Killjoy.
I'm not sure.
I
but
still need to catch up on that one.
So, no, I'm excited. He's in 3 episodes. So I'm excited to see that. But yeah, I don't know. I've these 3 episodes have been really good. It is not missing a beat. And, Mother's Milk and Frenchie are great. And I think also realizing that Laz Alonso is the guy from Cuba in Fast 7.
Yeah, so you told me that.
Right?
I did not even
Well, because I rewatched Fast 7. I was like, oh my God, that's Mother's Milk. So, yeah. And then Kimiko. Oh, sorry. I was going to say Kimiko is Karen Fukuhara. And she's Katana in the Suicide Squad. She's just been all over. She was she's great. But no, you were gonna say, I'm sorry.
Excuse me. So I have a question for you. Like, and again, I started off by talking about where Huey is from a mental perspective, and I think he is like really on that verge of cracking. And based on how Butcher has treated him, based on what almost happened to him with Starlight in the tunnels, what are your thoughts on Stewie trying to take a sample of Compound V?
Well, I think they're going to follow the comic, and Butcher is going to inject him. I think because I think because the cat is out of the bag with Compound V, we're going to see the boys have to toughen up.
Yes.
So now the Mother's Milk thing, I don't think they're going to do like the comics, because he gets his powers literally from his mother's milk, even as a grown-ass man, which is gross. And I don't think you made it that far in the comic.
No, I did not.
Yeah, it's pretty like awful.
Well, I mean, for that, they're using Homelander for that right now, for the gross
factor. Dude, just him with the milk in general, not just the breast milk, but the milk. It's like
he was drinking it like wine, like swishing around in his mouth.
Yeah. Ugh. He's so creepy.
Delicious.
So, do you think they're going to do Black Noir like they did in the comic, or
I don't think so.
Is Nathan Mitchell the guy who's underneath Black Noir? Is it going to be just a different character altogether?
I think it's going to be a different character altogether. And this is one of those things I would be happy for. Yeah. Just not that it's bad in the comics. I'm not saying that. And it makes sense why they did it. It was kind of like a Bizarro type thing. Mm-hmm. But I think he's going to be his own character. I did find it interesting that Black Noir, when the whole Compound V thing came out, was like breaking down in the middle of the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was an interesting addition to his. I like how they're kind of bringing more of Black Noir into things, or his reaction when he saw Lucy the whale,
right? Yeah,
like, split open.
Yeah,
like puts the hand to his chest, like, oh my God, really?
Goodbye, Lucy. Thank you, Lucy. But and then Maeve has had a really interesting arc this season so far with reconnecting with her girlfriend and keeping it on the down low. And like she's mainly just in her alter ego. And then when it comes out that her dad was like, I had no idea, and she's like, he knew, and it was
Right.
it was funny. I did not realize that Dominique McElliott or Elligot was Joel Kinnaman's wife in House of Cards when he was running against Frank Underwood for president.
Right. Yes.
I totally did I did not put two and two together until like earlier this week. And then she was also in Moon as what's his name? Sam Rockwell's wife back on Earth.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that.
Dude, Moon is so good. It's such a good movie. It's super slow, don't get me wrong, but like Duncan Jones, it's just a Duncan Jones masterpiece. So, yeah.
I wonder if it's still like, because I used to have it on my Netflix list or something, one of my streaming
I
lists,
don't know if it's streaming or anything, but yeah, I just gotta say, like, I think the boys are cast perfectly, and I think the Seven are cast perfectly. Side note, Erin Moriarty did sing that song.
That's her voice?
That is her voice.
Wow.
At Translucent's funeral. Like, if you watch on, like, so I was rewatching on my tablet, and, I always kind of like just click to see like the little Amazon notes. And yeah, that was one of them because I was going to look it up for the show. And Amazon beat me to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really, because I always, I'm one of those, kind of nerds. I love to do that. When I'm watching a movie, I'll do that too, where I'll just be on my phone, and people think I'm not paying attention. It's like I'm looking up stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm second screening. I'm second screening my my experience here because there's stuff I want to know, and I don't want to wait.
So, yeah, that's exactly how I am too. So, this season so far has one of the things I love about how they have it right now, where it's the first 3 episodes, is it was such a definitive climax for the first 3. Like episode 3 was such a great climax for this like mini arc.
Yeah.
Because that the mini arc of Huey's in this bad situation mentally. Butcher comes back. That strife between the boys. Homelander, being basically told off by Edgar, and then finally almost being a hero and saying, this is who we are together.
Yeah, right.
We're the Seven. We're family. That we have each other. And then this new girl in Stormfront pulling the wool over everyone's eyes who were watching.
Yeah.
The viewers' eyes. And those of us who knew are just kind of like laughing about it.
Oh, right.
But and then that last scene with her, well, the 2 scenes is when she kills Kimiko's brother,
right,
and then that scene at the end when she's getting all the praise and that look, that little smirk she gives Homelander, who's like staring. He wants to stare laser beams through her body,
and she calls him Gramps.
Yeah, snooze you lose, Gramps.
Yep, I said he was mine.
Yeah, and that was just a perfect way to like. So if they would have done the first 2 episodes, the first 2 episodes are good, but this felt like its own complete mini arc.
Yeah,
and I think that's one reason they did that, and I really like that they did it this way.
Agreed.
And as much as I wanted to see the next episode, I'm glad I had to wait a week.
Yeah, I'm glad. Like, so we're recording on Thursday the 10th, and in just a few hours we'll be able to watch it. So, but Ted Lasso.
So I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season.
So, like, out of 5 wee Hueys, what do you rate the first 3 episodes?
A strong 4 wee Hueys, maybe 4.5.
I'll go 4. I'm gonna stick to solid numbers on this one. I think a 4 is really
I'll keep
fair.
it at the 4.
I think because they revealed the kid had powers so early, which we kind of thought he had powers based on like the story he was told about how the kid laser beamed out of her stomach, and then drowned in his own blood. I would have liked to have seen just kind of Homelander's egging the kid on a little bit more.
Yeah, I could see that. And speaking of the kid, oh, well, I was about to ask if you'd seen Justified. Like, of course you've seen Justified.
Yeah.
He really reminds me of Gutterson, the sniper dude.
Yeah.
Like I was like, dude, is this his son or something?
Right.
Because I kept watching the kid thinking, because again, it's a different kid from the last year.
Yeah. Is it?
Again, that kid looked older. And let me double check just to make sure, so I won't be saying something false. It sure did look like he was a different kid.
I didn't think we got to see enough of the kid. But I mean, you may be right. The character, his name is Ryan Butcher. And the kid that we're seeing now is Cameron Corvetti. Yeah, he's
Parker Corno, 8-year-old boy.
Okay.
So
yeah, and so Cameron, it doesn't say, but
so yeah, it's a different kid, but so yeah, he really reminds me of that, and I actually like, he was such a good kid in the sense of how he's like, look. Like, because I think he understands in a way that he doesn't realize about, Homelander and like what Homelander's trying, not in a bad way, but he just sees Homelander as this stranger who's, okay, he's my dad, but he's kind of weird and he gives off these weird vibes. Yeah. Because when he's, in the bed and he says, I love you, son. He's like, okay.
Yeah, thanks.
He's like, supposed to say it back.
So, this kid, he's on Dirty John, the Christian Slater show on USA, and then he played one of the Nicole Kidman's twins on Big Little Lies.
Yes.
That's where you recognize him from.
Okay.
So
absolutely.
But yeah, no, I think this is just a great start to coming back to the season. I think the little glimpse we got of Jordana LaJoel, I think she was in the background there when they were underground, or maybe that was just wishful thinking, seeing Sherry. No, I don't think she was in there. Maybe I just was seeing things. No, she was in the first episode. Yeah, she was in the big ride. So yeah, she was in the underground bunker with them when they were trying to get out of the country before they were all deemed personas non grata. Right. So, but yeah. Anyway, all right. We've gone really long because we had a lot to cover this week. But yeah. Hey, thanks to Julian Brown, our patron. So join him on patreon.com and help us out. We have a goal of $200, and we need that $200 to get Darryl a better computer.
Okay. Okay, I'm sounding like Ryan here. Like,
all right. No, actually, I think what would be cool is like, because I've been posting these videos to YouTube, like the audio to YouTube as an audiogram, and maybe if we could record things and do some video and post that, you guys wouldn't think Darryl is just Gangsta Mario.
I mean, I am Gangsta Mario.
You are Gangsta Mario, and that's why I said you're not just Gangsta Mario.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I wear every day, except on the days I have to do laundry. So.
I mean, you wore it when we went to the movies, and it was epic.
Yeah, I always get compliments on it.
Yeah. So, of course, you always get asked to like plunge a toilet too, which I think is kind of weird. I don't know. I mean, you're not Italian, so is that racist? Yeah. I'm not sure.
I'm seriously getting tired of people asking me where the hell Luigi is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like to talk about it. It's too emotional. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you did kill him and eat him, so.
Telling all my secrets.
Anyway, yeah, if you like what you're hearing, give us a 5-star review on iTunes or Podchaser. And yeah. Anything else?
No. Oh, but again, football is back. NFL is back. real college football is back. D1.
Wait, the SEC is back?
No, the SEC. It's a couple weeks, I think, for the SEC. But
well, when the
but
SEC
the U is playing tonight.
The U, Miami.
I don't even know who they're. Yeah, not that Miami.
No,
not our Miami.
Yeah, no, not the real Miami. That other usurper. So.
Usurper. I like that word.
Hey, Miami was a university before Florida was a state.
Was that true?
That is true.
Like when?
Our Miami was founded in 1809, and Florida's Miami was 1826 or something like that. I mean, it was, not. I mean, it was Florida. Let's see. Florida.
Bonus material.
It doesn't say. Yeah, bonus material. You can stop listening at this point if you don't care about the University or Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. 1845. So it was the 27th state in 1845. So I mean, we have them beat by almost half a century. So yeah. All right. On that note, we will see you all. Well, you'll listen to us all next week. Thank you for listening and for supporting the show. And we're out of here.
Have fun, guys.
Later. The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati, with new episodes out every Sunday. You can find more information about the show online at infamouspodcast.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @InfamousPodcast. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcatching app. If you're enjoying the show, consider giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or check out our Patreon at patreon.com/infamouspodcast for our new tiers and rewards. The Infamous Podcast is hosted and produced by me, Brian Tudor, with music provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. You can find me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @BrianTudor. So, whenever you're listening to the show, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is. And we'll see you next time. Later.